morning. Welcome to another edition of Rise and Shine. We appreciate you listening to us each Sunday. And this morning we're going to talk about the quality of life and homicides and some of the implications that it has in our community. But we'll be right back after this short message.
Save money this tax season at H&H. From January the 2nd through January the 15th, save an additional 10% on our already low fees. Let H&H work harder for you.
Welcome back to this edition of Rise and Shine. We're going to pause a moment for a short prayer from Brother Hasib.
All right. Thank you, God, for blessing us with another day that we can distribute information to hopefully help people and bring them into the goodness of this world. Amen.
Amen.
I'm Henry Hasib.
And I'm Robert Battle.
And I'm James Gordon.
This morning we're going to talk about what are some of the implications that are some of the causational factors that's associated with the deterioration of our communities as it relates to crime and violence. And Dr. Gordon, I would just like for you just to start off this morning, just to give us your view of what are some of the root causes or what types of awareness that you think our public should be aware of, either to help prevent crime and murders within our communities.
Well, Brother Battles, I'm not sure, Brother Hasib, what's the main reason for the increase. I know the solution. I got a lot of solutions.
Oh,
but the main problem, well, I'm just opinionated. the main problem we're having seems like it reminds me of a commercial. One of the bankruptcy attorneys talks about financial stress causing other kinds of stress in the community. And I think that many in our community, when it comes to good jobs and whatnot, I just remember a time 20 years ago when there was good meal jobs and good $30 an hour paying jobs. You have less stress around holiday seasons and whatnot. It seems like now during holiday seasons and Mardi Gras seasons and the tension seems to be uptick in our communities, black and white, where we have problems at gas stations and domestic home problems and family problems because of the stress that these seasons bring, because folks have a mind that they must spend a certain amount of money to make the season bright, if you would. So I think that programming hurts us there. I want to mention that our hearts go out to the families in our community. The family in Georgia that's had two officers that was murdered in a domestic violence, domestic call, and then we have an officer in Sarah Land that was shot in a domestic call recently as well. We've got to respect, got to instill in our community, in our family members, that we need to respect authority, especially when they come to try to keep the peace. These are peace officers that come to try to keep the peace, and yet they're the ones being attacked many times. One of the things you say a solution is that if I make a terroristic threat on the internet, if I threaten the president on the internet, if I yell bomb or fire in a crowded building, these things, even though I have freedom of speech, are considered to be illegal. We need to consider legislating or lobbying our legislators in Alabama to maybe suggest that if you say on the internet to kill a police officer, then you could equally be charged with a crime or making a terroristic threat, because you have a serious mental problem when you say something like that. Your mind is not right, you're not right, you need to get help, and we need not let our officers be exposed to this kind of hate or kind of bitterness in the heart.
When we look at the implications of crime and violence, most psychologists say that whenever you see an upshoot in crime and violence, that there has been something that has been left out of this human factor and human behavior that makes us the people who God intended for us to be. But then I believe, gentlemen, that again, and I hate to keep going back to the political and the social ramifications, but if the leaders, just take for instance in the school system, I'm a school board commissioner, I look at the deterioration we've had so many episodes of bullying that parents are becoming so incensed. It's not about race, it's about the quality of education. we have so many implications where schools are being combined. We have over 12 federal schools in Mobile County. And all of these are some of the significations or the prerequisite identification that there's a problem. But the problem with all of our educated people are not really being addressed from the impact that it should be, and that's a socialization process. Let me give you an example. With Mount Zion Primitive Baptist Churches on Duval Street, I'm going to meet with the pastor over there about setting up on 2 or 3 days a week so that the people from the employment office can come over into the community to try to address some of those systemic root basic problems that are precipitating causes for crime and violence. That's the lack of jobs, the lack of education, the lack of opportunity, but more importantly though, the lack of the accomplishment of the American dream.
All right, Mr. Battles, the comments that you made is very important, and I think it's going to take community involvement to be there. In 2016 in Mobile, this city here, we had over 40 homicide rates.
Wow.
Now, I visited another city recently that had 240 homicide rate, and I thought that was really, really bad. But I believe that one of the solutions, because we play the blame game nationally all over America there. We want to fault everybody else for our problem. What I mean our problem, this is a human problem that we all have to participate in to do it. The community, we want to fault the police officers. And I tell people when it comes to police officers, actually they are at the fact. We know something was brewing sometimes weeks and months and sometimes years before they actually happen. And we don't say anything about them. But when they happen, then it was the police fault that it happened. I think we got to stop the blame game because there's enough of that to go around.
Listen, a lot of the police fault too. Now, let's don't leave that out.
Well,
I disagree. I agree with Brother Hassie because when I was driving the bus picking up some folks at one of those apartment complexes in Pritchard where someone had a problem and the police officer had to come out. The lady on the bus said this was brewing along. I knew the day when I saw that guy, he was having one of his moments. So you've seen this guy for weeks and weeks and weeks acting erratic,
right,
and you said nothing, and then when he goes off the chain, you call the police officers, and then when you can't blame, like I said, it's not fair to blame them for something that's been brewing for weeks and weeks and weeks.
And I agree with that, Dr. Garber. What I mentioned when I mentioned not to be misunderstood was that it is an associate problem too, because their understanding of the sociological problems that precipitate those types of behavior, so that when they go on a call, that they're not predisposed to use a gun or to use. So that's what I meant about.
And we do have problems. That's why I say it's enough blame to go around, so we can fault and blame each other. And I'm not by any means just trying to say when the police go off and he used his weapon, because we've had that in a way that he shouldn't use because he stand behind a badge, that he should be prosecuted. I think he should be to the fullest extent. But if we're going to deal with the problem, see, because it's a fact that here locally we had over 40 homicides in 2016, and that was up from previous years. Right. If we're going to do that, we're going to have to work together. Now, of course, if there's an issue that we need to address, whether it's in the police department or whether it's in the community, we cannot be afraid to address these issues if this is causing the problem. Not so much in a way to fault each other, because it's good. If I stump my toe, then if somebody else who put the brick down there, and they did put the brick down, I didn't put it down there, but now I fault them for putting the brick rather than me for watching where I was going. And we got to stop that.
And I agree with you, Dr. Hasib, because when you look at some of the root causes of the problems that we are really being dealt with today, and I have to continue to go back to education. I have to continue to go back to parental involvement. I have to continue to go back to that now we have grandmothers who are 26 and 27 years old who are not educated. So there are some root causational factors that precipitate those types of behavior. But more importantly though, if the parents My mama one time pointed her finger in my face and intimidated me when she told me what I wasn't going to do, what I was trying to do. But now we have parents who are afraid of their own children in their own house, you know. We have leadership in our community. We have churches who are preaching the gospel and preaching about salvation, but they don't come out into the street to really show the systemic types of problems that incorporate and that our people have some real problems that we need to address personally.
We have chiropractors and accountants that should do more, and we also have school board commissioners that I'm charged with doing more with the.
I'll accept.
The certificate of attendance diploma has to go away.
That's
I mean, when a child can sit in the classroom for 12 years and get a piece of paper saying that they were sitting there for 12 years and it's supposed to be worth something, that hurts me to my heart, because this child is not ready for anything when they leave that school, and they got this false bill of goods that says that they've accomplished something when they've actually accomplished nothing. And it's the parents' fault and it's the school system fault for both, for allowing this atrocity to even exist, to have this diploma to exist. When that same child goes to school and say, "You need a GED." What do you mean I need a GED? I got this certificate of attendance. Isn't it worth something?
That's right.
No, it's not. So yeah, I guess there's enough blame. The whole community needs to come to the accountant and the chiropractor needs to go out into the schools and talk to the kids, the junior high kids and the elementary kids, when we get a chance to read to the kids or to witness to the high school students.
That's right.
And we just need to. Everybody's got to be charged with doing the best they can to fix these problems. But like you said, I think we're talking about violence in the community, and if you got a good education, strong education system where a person can come out and be fruitful to the community and make a decent living, that all goes to
these are the things I'm talking about, Doc. How the community has to come together. We see that there's a problem in education, and obviously there is. Then the business community, because we're gonna come with different mindsets, as we've said before, depending on where you're sitting at, everybody ain't gonna have the same mindset. I may be talking from a business standpoint as to how I can help education.
Okay, check this out. As a businessman, you and I, how many hours have we volunteered to the school board to say, look, we'll go stand in the classroom or in the hallway 2 hours a day to make sure there's no bullying going on at this Sims school or this Mobile school or what have you. I'm guilty of not doing that, and I need to do better. And that's what we need to charge our business leaders in the community, or our grandmothers or grandfathers in the communities, of saying, what can we do to help fix the problem also?
Well, I think, on that, because I know you and I have sit down in some schools and we have offered our help. We have not had an invitation to give it yet. But so I think there's business people out here who would love to help our school system. And we talk about this in relationship to the homicide rate that's going, because education is one of those things. But somewhere along the road, we have not sit down, the education, the business, the political people, to sit down to see how we can solve this. It can be solved. If it's a problem, then it's got a solution for it. But everybody, we can come and, like you say, we can offer our opinion as business people that the schools are failing, but we as business people can play a part. And I think business people would like to probably play a part. And there's some stories I can tell you. We don't have time right now for this show on where business people tried to help education and was turned down. So somewhere we got to get to the table to see how can we bring that, because this is where they got to go to. Why are we educating them? So they can get into business.
But Dr. Hasib, as a school board commissioner, my vision is for the coming year is to have more community workshops, to have more town meetings, to educate the people about what are your responsibilities to make sure that your child get a proper education, and that you are an active participant in your child's education. Well, I think the basic thing that we should really be focused on with the new administration,
President Trump, you mean?
President Trump,
Okay.
for 2017, will be a new era in our quality of life for Americans. But I think that whatever perception that you have about what's coming in, we can make a real difference if we get organized within our communities so that we can demand that our political leaders and our religious leaders hold community workshops and do things that's going to educate the people. The prophet Nehemiah said, in order to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, that we got to get the people in their mind to work.
There you go,
Well,
building another wall.
I definitely can understand that point of view. What I do believe that we have to do to solve these problems is the community, and when we say the community, it's all facets of the community. Now, one of the problems I have had with trying to put together groups, and we organized a group for this issue we're talking about, the crime in the area, but a lot of times when we put together these groups, we don't put together the right people, in my opinion.
That's right.
We put together so-called educated people who don't probably not even affected by the crime that we're talking about.
Or either indifferent to the crime.
Indifferent to the crime, and we don't bring the people who we say that's being affected by the crime or doing the crime to the table.
Right.
Those are the people we need to get. I don't know, maybe you're afraid, as I say, to bring those people to tell you why this type of crime.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to reach out to like our Mobile mayor, Mayor Stimson, and say like when you bring people together, I guess if you reach out or get your administration to reach out to the communities to which the crimes are happening, instead of just saying any minority face will do, or people who want to participate, reach out and invite the Robert Battles or the Human Rights Chiefs to the table, and then be willing to listen, because many times just because someone looks like someone else, just because you got two Asian people together, don't mean they know that they're from the same community. So we have to and then be willing to make the changes. It's also good having these talks, but wouldn't it be nice to make these changes? We said it's time for a break, Brother Brown.
We're going to take a short commercial break here, and be right back to finish this very important subject.
Tax time is here. Tax time is here. Income tax time is here again. Let us save you hundreds of dollars on your preparation fees that others charge you. Come in from January the 2nd to January the 15th and save an additional 10% on our already low prices. Remember, H&H works harder for you. H&H will be there for you. Call us at 438-1620.
We'd like for you to join us each Sunday for Rise and Shine with Robert Battles, James Gordon, and Henry Harsib on Fox 10 at 5:30 a.m. each Sunday morning. We'd like for you to join us so that we can provide you with information that will be beneficial to you and to your family.
Mr. Buckley, how you doing today?
Doing great, Dr. Gordon. How are you, sir?
Great, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jenny. Appreciate you treating with the Alabama Injury and Pain Clinic. What was your favorite thing?
Well, first of all, no out-of-pocket expense, and my back has gotten great.
This is great. A lot of our patients worry about who's going to pay their bill. So it's good to know that the insurance company will pay after your case is settled. No out-of-pocket expenses. Call 476-PAIN. The choice is yours.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. We're on this very important subject this morning, just to really give you some solutions to the problems that we've articulated. We have some significant problems within our community. We have a significant upshoot in crime and violence. When on the latest statistics that were revealed by our local police chief was that the number of young teens who being involved in the murder rate. So what that illustrates to me as a student of psychology, Dr. Gordon, is that we really need to focus. When I asked my son, who is a young man, I said, could you give me some type of solution that we could take to try to deal with our young people, and what are some of the causational factors? He said, Dad, the young people today have zero understanding. Why do they have zero understanding? They have zero understanding because they have no education, they have no job, they have no family structure, they have this justification which we just spoke about earlier. All of these factors combined can cause one to go off track.
Well, they can, and we do have issues that need to be addressed here just locally. But as I said before, we got to put the right people together. And if I'm being affected in whatever area we're dealing with, then you need to bring me to the table and let me give you why I feel, because I'm the one that's been affected. The solutions a lot of times to the problems that we try to address does not fit the problem, because we dealing with it from an area that we have no knowledge about. But you get that person there, you say, well, why are you committing this crime? And as you say, it may be because my children was hungry. So now we got to deal with employment. So we need to understand from the point of the people that's being affected by these problems the most. All of us are affected, but the ones who being affected and who's living in these type of areas, what would they, why do they feel the way they do? What is the solution that they will come? And a lot of times they know, hey, you need to get Jerry off the street. He been peddling dope here for 20 years, and ain't everybody been afraid to say something.
But Dr. Hussey, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw the burden of the problem that we're trying to discuss this morning on us. You, Dr. Gordon, and myself, why don't we start think tanks in the community? Why don't we start group sessions that will deal with problems that we feel impact negatively on our community? We could encourage sororities and fraternities who are doing all these partying things to come, who could draw a magnet of people so that when people are part of something and they feel like they have an interest in it, then they're going to be part of the solution.
I agree with both of you, and I want to applaud, I guess, all our local chiefs of police and our Sheriff Cochran and Mayor Stinson and Mayor Gardner, the Pritchard being the biggest city in the area, Mayor Sarah Land, Ruthersfield, all these guys are doing a great job, but I think that when we bring folks together, when I was thinking about what you guys were saying, I know it's like in the city of Pritchard, for example, there's an officer who seems to have an attitude. When I talk to people in the community, I notice I can talk to a black person over here, a white person over here, an older person, a younger person. This guy's name keeps coming up. That's having an attitude. So there again, the community knows before anything happens, but it's sliding towards something happening. And I think it's important to have maybe, if you could, if they have a forum or whatnot, get these folks who feel like they've been wronged, if you would, and these officers out there, and say, well, let's have some dialogue. Why do you feel this officer is this way, or why do you feel that person's that way? And then maybe we get a better understanding, because we're missing the boat. When you get Mayor Gardner and Sam Cochran together, they may not be living in an area where there is a problem. So they really are coming from their level of experience, and no one's going to act up around them because you got mayor attached to your name or sheriff attached to your name. But when it's Robert Battles, or when it's say John Q. Public and Officer John Doe, all of a sudden you got a whole different dynamic there that we're not hearing that message. So I think we're talking above the message many times when we get these forums. You got to make sure you get the right people in the room and make sure these folks feel okay to open up, be it the officer or the individual, so that you can actually get honest dialogue about what's going on.
And you know, I agree with that, Dr. Gore, because I've spoken to Matt Stimson in the city of Mobile on several occasions about this problem as it relates to public housing. You know, we've had the OIG report that came in and gave this blistering report, but yet and still the quality of life for the people who live within those apartments have not really changed. But yet and still they say they want to reduce crime. Dollar General over in the Birdsville area has left the facility, so now you got a dark building. We got elected officials who could come together to develop programs that could address these very systemic issues. And I put the charge on. I don't care about who you are. We're going to, all three of us, going to make a commitment today that we're going to lead the charge and trying to get you involved so that you could help us find out what the problems, as Dr. Gordon articulated earlier, about people who've had comment about officers over a period of time, but nothing has been done to alleviate that. And we're going to go to a short break.
Well, before we get to the end of this program, Robert, I'd like to say that the community has to get involved if we're going to truly solve the problem with solution. Now, perception is everything.
It is.
We got to change the perception of what our community is when it comes to law enforcement and law enforcement against in communities. Now, we got to change those perceptions. We got to humanize people. I spoke with the chief there some time ago about how we need to have community policing. And what I meant by that, the police in the community need to be humanized to the people that they're policing. And I understand, you know, in a growing city and all, things are happening and so much is happening. It makes it harder, but we got to work on these areas. So I encourage the community, if you are concerned about our community, then you can get in touch with us, or there's other community organizations out there to get involved in so we can work to solve these problems.
And I got one final comment. When we come down to the solution that Dr. Hasib and Dr. Gordon are talking about, see, we get hung up on race when it's not about race. It's about money and power, the rich and the poor, and the people who are being impacted by the negative quality of life.
All right, well, I think we've had another great show today, and I hope we've done something to inspire you to get involved in your community. We wish every week on Sunday here that you stay tuned and listen to Rise and Shine for more valuable information.
And Dr. Hasib, give a number that they could call if they want additional information.
We have that number right on the screen, and just call that number that you see on the screen,
or email
and we'll
us.
be glad. Or email us to that address that you see on the screen, and we'll be glad to take that information.
We'd like for you to join us each Sunday for Rise and Shine with Robert Battles, James Gordon, and Henry Hasib on Fox 10 at 5:30 a.m. each Sunday morning. We'd like for you to join us so that we can provide you with information that will be beneficial to you and to your family.